Welcome everybody here and online to Pitch Day for 500K. Today we're going to hear first from Dan Steele at Listening Post. So Dan, welcome and congrats, and Michael Sherwood. This is Michael Sherwood from Centerpiece Labs, and we're glad he's here. The companies represent the top candidates from our screening process, where we're looking at probably 15 or 20 companies for every company that gets up here in front of us fortnightly on our pitch day. So congratulations, guys, for making it through the process, and for going through that to be here today. For those new to our program, Startup NV is Nevada's statewide nonprofit startup accelerator and incubator. We operate 7 entrepreneurship programs supported by government grants and corporate sponsors. We get additional financial support in the form of donated equity from successful accelerator companies who get funded by one of our funding programs. And we also get profit sharing from our 4 affiliated investment funds and syndicate. Our fortnightly pitch day offers companies the opportunity to join our accelerator program with investment from Fund NV, our investor syndicate, plus matching funds from Nevada's SSBCI program. Since 2021, we've directly invested $12 million in 25 companies, plus another $7 million of PIPE in a public company. So our investments, that $12 million that we've invested, is currently worth just over $44 million in assets under management. And they're just about a 4x what we call MOIC, managed multiple on invested capital. Partner co-investments from Nevada's SSBCI programs and others have amplified our impact significantly, adding more than $25 million to what we've invested and since 2021. So a little over $37 million we've invested. So a quick legal disclaimer: today's pitches are for investment from our legally compliant venture funds and syndicate, restricted to SEC accredited and Nevada certified investors. We welcome the community to attend with us here in the room and online for educational or entertainment purposes if you prefer. But the pitches are not a general solicitation. Pitches are for our properly legally compliant investment groups. Special thanks to our sponsors, the City of Las Vegas, Clark County, GoEd, the EDA and the USDA, and to Brian and Woven for hosting us once again here at this awesome facility. So with additional announcements tonight, we've got a startup week starting in the middle of September. So keep an eye on that. There's lots of events around town during about 3 or 4 days during the middle of September. So keep an eye on our LinkedIn channel for announcements about what events are taking place when. It's a pretty awesome 3 or 4 days worth of startup extravaganza geekiness. So come out and join us if you can. All right, so wrapping up now. Dan, are you ready to go?
I am ready, Jeff.
All right, Michael, come on up. Start sharing your slides. Take it away.
Perfect. Thanks for you guys for hosting us here at Startup NV. I appreciate the opportunity to pitch. My company is Centerpiece Lab. We are a platform that powers e-commerce for all of the people who can't normally do e-commerce. Let's see here. There we go. So the problem, I have worked in e-commerce for over 25 years now. And as someone in this position, people are always coming to me and asking if I can help them start an e-commerce business. And my answer is always no. Or I'm willing to help, but my advice is don't do it. You can't make money, or you almost never make as much money as you put into it. And so I had a good friend, Hector, who is my jiu-jitsu instructor. And he asked me the same question. I gave the same answer, but he was persistent. And he kept asking this question. And it started me thinking, maybe I can solve this problem. So every time an e-commerce store is started, there are hundreds of hours that go into figuring out your legal and your payment processing and sourcing product and figuring out your tech stack. There's a million things you have to figure out. And for someone who that isn't their main business, the task is extremely daunting. And so Hector, he has 650 students who each pay $300 to $400 a year in jiu-jitsu products. And so I started thinking, Right now, they're spending this money with Amazon and with other platforms or other sites. And 69% of people seek opinions from friends and family or someone like Hector before they buy. And so real influence comes from local communities, from your family and your friends. And I know this market very well. I know the problems that there are. And I thought I can solve this problem. So the solution is Centerpiece Lab. We have created a platform where a small business, or anyone really, can launch a site in 30 minutes. They provide us with their branding and their logo and some other information. And then they go through our marketplace. We connect to suppliers in each niche, and they pick out the products that they think align with their brand, with their community. And then they just ask that community to buy from them. So in Hector's case, he just tells his students, those products you were buying from Jeff Bezos, helping him get rich, buy from me and support our local business. And so he couldn't do that. We, Centerpiece now, we handle the tech and we handle the payment processing. We're the merchant of record, so we handle the sales taxes. We handle the customer service. We handle returns. And we aren't actually sourcing the product, but we handle that relationship with the suppliers. So that provides that product. They're shipping the product. And in our case, all of this happens seamlessly. For the supplier, the product or the order comes in as it would any of the orders on their D2C business part. For the customer who buys from Hector, they'll get the same order updates and shipping that every other e-commerce business provides to their customers. Our initial niche is combat sports and jiu-jitsu. We are in Las Vegas. This is the epicenter of combat sports in the world. I and my team are very well connected in this area. We know a lot of the players. And it's a small and trusting market. It's a $9.5 billion global combat sports market. We are going after mostly the US market. Currently, we do have some sellers from other countries currently, but we're going after the US market. And so our initial kind of reach, we believe we can get, our SOM is 145 million. We believe is attainable for us with a 5% penetration. As we grow, we can internationalize pretty easy as well. We have international experience with business. So our product sort of addresses a missing area in the current market. There are a ton of platforms that will nowadays, compared to the past, are super easy to set up e-commerce. There's Shopify and Squarespace and others. None of those come with the product. And that's one of the big problems. Sourcing product is an issue for all of these small businesses. That's one thing that's really hard for them. And there are other businesses that provide product. Fair is a company that provides product to small businesses in a simple way, but they don't provide the e-commerce part of the stack. We've combined those two and gone a step further to provide the operations piece. So now all of those small businesses don't have to worry about hiring a customer service department or these other things. And now we are in the process of, we've tested and prototype this is new, but we do our product categorization. We rewrite product descriptions using AI. We do email marketing, and we're working on social marketing and site building. All of these things we've prototyped and are working in AI. They're not integrated into our stack yet, but this is something we're working on. None of the other players, there are other players who are working on that, but none of these ones that are our main competitors are working on these things currently. And it's hard for Shopify to change their whole business model to compete with us. Most of these people don't have the connections or the contacts to be able to get the supplier network or sellers in there. So it's a really hard problem for most people. For go-to-market, so initially I've done one sales pitch on this. I went to Hector 2 years ago and I sat down and I said, Hector, here's my plan to solve, you keep asking about e-commerce, here's my plan. And I told him my plan, and he goes, I'm in, I'm sold. I said, great. Well, I don't have a product, but this sounds good. And as I'm driving home, Hector calls me up and says, can you come back? And I'm like, yeah, I can come back. So I drove back, and he had called up a world champion UFC fighter, Claudio Gadelia, and Jacob Parga, who is a sports agent who manages 400 combat athletes. And they were there, and I basically told them the outline of the idea, and they both said, we're in. So I've got theoretically 402 customers, and I don't have a product. So I went home, and the next day got some friends, and we started building product. And in the meantime, I set up 10 kind of customers as test people. But our plan currently, all our customers are inbound so far. We plan to do direct outreach to gyms, strategic partnerships with different organizations and suppliers that are already in the culture. We are pretty well connected. And then to incentivize growth through referrals and commissions. The business model is super simple. So we managed to get our cost down to, right now it's at $1 per site per month for a non-producing site. So if we set someone up and they don't have any success, it costs us $1 for that customer. We know we can get it down to about 10 to 20 cents per non-performing customer. As they perform, that price scales up, but we're well within our margins. And so the seller gets 25% of a sale. On a $100 pair of pants, they make $25. The supplier gets $60, which is $10 over traditional wholesale. So they're making an extra $10 for picking and packing. And we make 15%. Of that 15%, that $15, about $5 of it is our cost. $10 is essentially profit on that sale. Hector, he's sold $20,000, over $20,000 in products so far, and he's made 5K. We personally have made 3K on those sales and profited 2K essentially on a unit economics basis. We bootstrapped to our MVP. We have not taken any investment to this point. It's all our own money and our own investment. We've processed over 1,200 orders. The AI portion of our business allows us to be extremely efficient. And we have an experienced team. I was one of the first people at backcountry.com when we were in a garage in Heber City, Utah. I helped scale them from 1 million to 500 million in revenue.
All right, Mike, you're at time. If you can head to ask slide.
Perfect.
Please.
So we are raising 2 million for 15% of the company. It's currently on a safe, but we're open to different investment vehicles. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Well, thanks to Dan and Mike for coming out today. Really appreciate it. So thanks for coming out and joining us today. A couple of quick reminders as we wrap up. Investors, if you like those stats that I was reciting at the top of the broadcast here about turning $12 million into $44 million. And one thing I didn't mention is that we have now returned just under $5 million of that original $12 million that we've invested back to our investors. So if you want to be part of that action, again, jump on startupnv.org, say, I'm an investor, or I want to be an investor. And you'll look at all the options that we have, probably end up talking to me at some point about our 1864 fund, our fund, pre-seed fund NV, our Angel NV fund, where we do teaching funds at the start of every year, or the Sierra Angels, our traditional angel that we run and support. So just jump on startupnv.org and you can learn more about all that stuff. And thanks again to Mike and Dan for coming out today, for everybody who attended, for everybody who asked questions, but thanks to everybody for participating. To our investor group who's going to watch this later, and the Startup NV team who makes this possible every fortnight. So join us again a fortnight from tonight now, and we will see you back here in 2 weeks. And we'll look at 2 additional Nevada startups to see what they've got going on. Until then, take care of yourself, and if you can, someone else too. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye.